Oh yeah, from Macbeth.
Call the meeting to order. Let's please stand and salute the flag. Mr. Secretary, can you please take the roll?
Ms. Cherry?
Present.
Dr. Connors?
Here.
Mrs. Cordino?
Here.
Mr. King?
Here.
Ms. Rashid?
Here.
Ms. Rivers?
Here.
Mrs. Salgado Cohen?
Here.
Ms. Smith?
Here.
Ms. Stafford?
Here.
We have 9 present.
Thank you. Hereby be it known that the Piscataway Township Board of Education has complied with the notification requirements of the Open Public Meetings Act for the announcement of this meeting, date and place on April the 30th, 2023 in the following manner. Posting of the public notice on the posting board for the Board of Education in the Administration Building. Email notification to newspapers serving Piscataway, the Home News Tribune, and the Courier News. Email notification filed with the municipal clerk at the municipal building on Rose Lane. This meeting is being videotaped. The recording is not an official record and or supplement to the minutes, is intended only as a source of information that the public might utilize at a later date to familiarize themselves with the board's activities. Executive session. Be it resolved that the board adjourn to executive session for the purpose of viewing and discussion of the personnel agenda, litigation, HIB monthly reports, and other matters pursuant to law NJSA 10:4-12B. Can I have a motion?
Motion.
Second?
Second.
All in favor? We are in executive session.
have student representative reports.
All right. Good evening, everybody. I hope you're all doing well. So we're finally into the second half of the year. I feel like it's going by so fast. And like always, the high school is really busy. This week is National School Counselor Week, and so at the high school, we have a lot of recognition things going on for the counselors. We have morning announcements from the student government, recognizing each counselor individually, just so, because of course, our counselors get to know us personally, but many times students don't get a chance to get to know their counselors well over their years. So this was a great week in order to do that. The Rho Kappa Honor Society, so the Social Studies Honor Society at our high school, has been hosting guest speakers every month. So this month they invited deans and directors from the Rutgers School of Planning and Public Policy. They're doing that next week actually, so on Wednesday. So I think that's just a great opportunity for students who are interested in going into fields like of that nature, to immerse themselves or like learn more about it just within high school, because I know we didn't have, like, we have a lot of STEM things, but we don't have much for English and history. So I'm glad that we're slowly getting into that. Um, the Public Forum Seminar Club hosted a bake sale, and all the proceeds from that went to Doctors Without Borders, which is providing humanitarian aid in Gaza. So that was late January, and that was great. I know it went really well. Our mock trial team had our countywide competition, and for the first time in a lot of years, we made it to semifinals, which was amazing. And yeah, it was just an overall great experience. The freshman seminar classes, like they do every year, have began their, well, they just finished their door decorating, and so each class gets a country assigned, and then they decorate their doors. So it's amazing to go around the school and see the many different cultures represented, and they have like little fun facts to learn all about them, and it's just a fun way of them getting to know a bit about each culture and then making like a friendly competition. And then with Valentine's Day coming up, there's many fundraisers and like activities going on with that. The class of 2025 is selling succulents. Our class of 2024, we are selling Valentine's Day grams with like baked roses and candy and things of that nature. And then as well as the GSA has a sale going on in regards to that. So that's amazing. Me and Tanvi both are a part of Day of Dialogue, which is a great initiative with Dr. Gray and Miss April, and we recently added Miss Narabeki, and basically we just had our first meeting of the year, and we added new students, new diverse perspectives, and we just speak to students' experiences at the high school and how we can better the sense of belonging for students of all backgrounds. And I think it's really important, especially just seeing like all the progress we made over the past 2 years, whether that was implementing halal food in the cafeterias or getting a prayer space for Muslim students in school, and even for all the other communities, changing the health curriculum. I think to make it more inclusive, I think from that group we've gotten so many great things. So I'm glad that we restarted those conversations this year, and I'm sure we'll accomplish some great things this year. We're also both part of our Safety Ambassadors program. So just today actually, we went to Eisenhower and we taught the first graders specific safety things. So there's 5 classes, like each partners go to each classroom, and so we teach them things like fall prevention, don't run on the playground, just basic things, but that are really important for them to learn at a young age, and making it as engaging as possible. And that's something that we do through Robert Wood Johnson Hospital. And then also Read Across America National English Honor Society is hoping to do that next month, early March. And we're just going to go to the elementary schools and read to them from the National English Honor Society. So that's also always amazing. And then lastly, the class of 2024, the senior class, we're hoping, and we're basically done planning a senior trip. And so in June, we hope to go to Six Flags. We're just finalizing the details, getting chaperones, things of that nature. But I'm sure it'll be amazing. But yeah, That's it, and I'll pass it on to Barbie.
Thank you, Rahim. Well, unlike Rahim, all the juniors are still in school struggling with their classes. So, like Rahim mentioned, we're halfway into the school year and there's quite a lot going on. For underclassmen and juniors, teachers have begun course advisement and recommendations. Counselors have been engaging a lot with juniors, meeting with them all of this month actually to talk about their plans for the future and options that they could go through, whether that be college or other career choices. So that's been really engaging. NHS has been having their tutoring after school, as there is a minimum amount of hours, but I know they're opening it up to different methods. I know they recently started tutoring with the younger levels, and there's Buddy Ball with PGB, Piscataway Gives Back on Mondays, so there's a lot of tutoring and service hours going on. Girl Up actually has their girls' night tomorrow, which is from 5 to 7, and it's pretty much just for like girls to come and do a bunch of activities. There's bracelets and tote bags and slime, so it's definitely something to look forward to. Spring sports seasons are coming up, so tryouts and interest meetings have begun. I know girls and boys track and field has started. Softball had their interest meeting and boys volleyball as well. Speaking on sports, we've had a great amount of wins this winter season, and I'm a little biased because I am a track runner myself, but I'm extremely proud to say that the girls track and field team has won GMC championships this winter season, and the boys winter track team won their first GMC winter track championship, and they won the New Jersey State Group 4 relay championship for the first time in school history. So it's really exciting. Yeah.
Congratulations, Tommy.
Right. So there are a lot of boys that placed in the New Jersey State Group 4 Championship qualifiers who actually medaled at this past weekend. And as well as the girls, there's a couple girls that were selected. So that's super exciting. I know how hard they train and how much effort that goes into running, even during the cold, something I did not choose to do this year, but I know it's a lot, so good for them. Moving on to the clubs. Today, actually, right now, a Chinese New Year, Chinese club is hosting their New Year event in collaboration with Piscataway Gives Back. And it's just to celebrate the culture, and there's activities, and it's open to the community, so that's really great. I know Spanish Club hosted Noche Latina last week, and that was super successful. It was just a dance, there was food and music, and it was very lively, so it was really exciting. And HOSA actually had their regional competitions this weekend, and 2 students placed, so that's some great representation from P-Way. The FBLA, their SLC trip is coming up soon, so objective testing and competitions for their trip in March has begun this month, so a lot of preparations going on. And as well, as mentioned earlier, counselors are being really engaging, so they actually are planning a college trip, a college fair trip to the Expo Center in March, actually. So there's about like 30 plus colleges attending, so it's a great opportunity for juniors to go see what's offered. As well, Science League, they had just had their second exam today, and we're actually Chem League is actually second in state, so
Wow.
that's really good. There's 2 more exams, so we'll see how we are towards the end, but that's all I have for today.
Excellent.
I have a question.
Yes.
You talked about Piscataway Gives Back. Is that a club?
Yes, so Piscataway Gives Back, we pretty much provide like service opportunities out for the community, how to get students and volunteers here at the high school involved in giving outreach back to the community. Yeah.
How long has that group been in existence, Tommy?
2021, Tim O'Reilly started.
Really great. Thank you guys.
Yeah, thank
so
you very much.
Thank you.
And congratulations again on the track. Everyone is thriving, and I see them practicing now.
I know.
Yeah, I see you guys outside. I'm like, hats off to you, boys. I would be cold. But congratulations again. Thank you for coming out this evening and giving us updated reports on what's going on in the district. We truly appreciate it. And of course, I know you're going to leave, so get home safely.
Thank you.
Next on the agenda, we have the President's Report, Summer President's Report for February 8th, 2024. February is Black History Month, a time for us to celebrate all the important contributions made by African Americans in its effort to make sure that our children learn about these great men and women when they are young and continue to build on that knowledge as they grow old. Our schools, many celebrations, observations, and lessons for Black History Month are available to see on our website. Black History is American history, so our administrators and teachers work hard to celebrate the diversity throughout the year. But this month it's important to emphasize figures who may have been historically overlooked and deserve our respect and recognitions. Congratulations to the PHS track teams for an amazing season. The girls and the boys, as Tanji so nicely said earlier, both swept the GMC championships on January 21st with individual titles by Talabi Ferguson. Okay, this name got me. Kirsten Ashby, Madison Morgan, Morgan Jean, and Noah Grant. The boys team also won the state Group 4 relay championships for the first time ever with a dramatic win in the 4x4 relay by Deshaun Stevens, Skylar McGee, Jamari Atkinson, and Noah Grant. And that's it for my president's report. I must say, spending the amount of time I spent at the high school to see all of these athletes not only excel in their sport, but also excelling in their education to be the well-rounded individuals that they are. Right now, we have some of the track team volunteering at the concession stand. We have wrestlers volunteering at the concession stand. We have cheerleaders volunteering at the concession stand, but what it gives them is an opportunity to give back to the school and to their fellow sportsmen while they're not actually practicing and or have a meet or a game that day. But it also gives them the opportunity to be a voice, to be seen, and to do something they wouldn't normally do. I'm also starting to encourage other kids who are not athletes to also see if they can be a part of the concession stand and work there, because they're at the games, they know students, but also just let them know they're welcome to be a part of that as well. It's not just strictly for the athletes, because they need to also earn community service hours, because everyone needs to make sure if their desire to go to college does exist, that they have everything they need in their portfolio so that nothing holds them back. So like I say, it's great seeing the kids all over the district and doing the things that they're doing, but supporting and encourage one another, which is just a tremendous thing to do and to have here in this diverse community that we have. And that's the end of my report. Next, we have the superintendent's report.
Thank you very much. As usual, check out our superintendent's report on our website under the Superintendent's Corner. Highlights this month include PHS Advanced Placement Family Night that we had for our parents, science scholar collaboration, some art and athletic awards, and visits from our community, from military personnel, authors, and entertainers. We're really happy that they give back to our schools, and also a calendar of our upcoming events. For the board, our Unsung Heroes event for the county is scheduled for April 18th at Old Bridge High School. You were sent some information by my office. If you could respond if you would like to go. Unsung Heroes is a program where each high school nominates a junior and a senior who have overcome some kind of life challenge for their successes that they have. So we have nominated our two students, and we won't reveal them tonight, but our event is again April 18th. Please email my office if you'd like to go. We have to give them a number. So we're really excited, and it's one of my favorite events of the evening of the year. It's really great. I hope you can come. Our Ed Foundation is formed to raise money to give student scholarships, and whether it be teacher grants or school needs or things like that. One of our biggest fundraisers are Designer Bag Bingo, which is scheduled for March 8th at 7:30 p.m. at Our Lady of Fatima in the cafeteria there. And we hope you can make it. Please let us know. Glenn, are they supposed to let you know if they're coming?
Yes, please.
Yeah, so if you could just email myself or give me a call, I'll let Dr. Lotman know, and we'll get you on the list to be able to come. And that concludes my report.
Thank you, Dr. Rinaldi. Next, we have Personnel and Labor Relations, Ms. Nancy Salgado Cohen.
Be it resolved that the following motions identified as items A through F be approved as presented.
Second. Mr. Secretary, can you take the roll call, please?
Corradino?
Yes to all, but abstain to A, or abstain from A.
Mr. King? Yes. Ms. Rashid?
Yes.
Ms. Rivers?
Yes.
Mrs. Salgado Cowan?
Yes.
Ms. Smith? Ms. Stafford?
Yes.
Dr. Connors?
Yes.
Ms. Cherry?
Yes.
Motion's carried.
Public comments from the floor. I do not see anyone from the floor, so can I have a motion to close public comments from the floor? Motion. Can I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, public comments is closed. We have, all four committees have reports being read tonight. So put your listening ears on. Okay, first we have curriculum. The Curriculum Committee met on February 5th, 2024 to discuss Future Educators Association, Social Emotional Learning, ESL Family Nights, and more. New Jersey Future Educators Association, known as NJFEA, Principal Chris Balbasamo, Kelly Chalakis, Julian Alisone, supported the formal establishment of the chapter of the NJFEA at PHS. Current EA members Ametria Sabdor and Jasmine Castellanos advocated for the chapter and spoke of their experiences. Activities included speeches, partnerships with the district, fundraisers, recruitment via the P-Way experience, internships, course preparation for student educator careers, guest alumni, and hometown heroes. Students will attend a conference at Rider University in the spring. Social Emotional Learning, SEL. Dr. Laura Hamlet gave a consent presentation concerning the many different aspects of our district's SEL curriculum, which falls under the umbrella of our multi-tiered systems of support. She elaborated on the overall goals anchored around the students belonging in the CASEL 5 core competencies: self-awareness, self-management, social awareness, relationship skills, and responsibility decision-making, which is a framework that helps cultivate skills and environments that advance students' learning and development. Positive behavior support in schools. Dr. Hamlick also described the PBSIS initiative, which provides a frame for SEL in schools, along with the tiered models where illicit instruction takes place. Dr. Hamlick outlined the pillars of the character education, mentoring, and the district's partnership with the Haven. Ms. Nancy Corradino discussed the possibility of having therapy dog programs. Dr. Ranelli, we said we were going to talk to you about this.
Okay.
Pressure on. ESL Family Nights. Glenisha Gerardo Morin and Ametria Beatty gave a brief overview of the ESL Family Nights, K-3, 4 to 5, and 6 to 8, which was a goal established by Dr. Baskerville to meet the needs of this population. Assistive technology was introduced where parents used a QR code to an application called the Talking Points that would allow any question to be asked and answered in their home language. An overall view about the ESL program was provided along with curriculum and other resources. Curriculum guide review. Scott Hood explained the proposed ELA course modifications at PHS, which would offer alternatives to English 3 and English 4 offered to 11th and 12th graders. Currently, the courses are offered at one grade level or the other. Based upon popularity and requests from students, the purpose is to increase student choice and real-world engagement. The courses are mythology and composition, race, and gender and literature, speculative and literature. Students enrolled in courses will meet requirements for English 3 and English 4 respectively. Artificial intelligence. Dr. Baxterville explained that we are monetarily pausing discussion with the committee regarding AI until the district has done further research and work on developing a framework and policy. More information will be forthcoming. Federal funds update. Dr. Baskerville gave a brief overview of the federal funds and their usages. He informed the committees of the following purposes and allegations for the school year 2023-24. Title I targeted assistance at 6 Title I schools: Eisenhower, Grandview, Arbor, Shore, Quibbletown, and PHS, $937,938. Title II, Professional Development for Teachers and Principals, $175,701. Title III, Language Instruction for Multilanguage Learners, $125,937. Title IV, Immigration Language Instruction for Immigrant Students, $50,486. Title IV, Support for Academic Programs, $79,443. ESSER funds expire in September. PHS Italian classes. Dr. Baskerville explained that the Italian teacher has been on leave and gave the committee an update on what has been done to continue the instruction of the classes. This has been difficult due to a limited number of qualified instructors. Efforts have been included seeking a qualified long-term substitute, speaking with other districts, exploring countless online synopsises and asynchronous. Anonymous Explore Platforms investigating a possible dual enrollment agreement with Morris County College, which failed due to a lack of available time in the Morris County teacher schedules. The district currently uses 3 advanced level Rutgers Italian students, the Entrance curriculum, and a certified staff member in the room during the class periods. Plans for next year are being discussed. Additional topics. Dr. Gordon asked about the possibility of additional languages being offered, e.g. Creole or a course in or club. Dr. Baskerville explained that the difference between creating a new curriculum and starting a club. Dr. Lieberman mentioned that need for parental instructions and support in math using videos produced for parents. And that's it for curriculum. With curriculum, I must say, we had a very productive meeting. A lot was learned and a lot more is to be learned. The videos for math for parents to be able to go onto the Piscataway website and to be able to click a button to see how to help your child do their homework, because a lot of the parents do not understand the math that's being taught. And unfortunately, everyone's not able to get a tutor, and even with a tutor, you may still need additional time. So that would be great to have instructions online where parents would be able to assist their child. And Nancy brought up the part about a therapeutic dog, and like I explained to them, we use those in courts for foster children. So when they're in court and they're talking and they're testifying and they're giving their true feelings, they have the dog where they're with them. It gives them comfort, but it allows them to say more and do more than they normally would do without getting anxious and worried and fiddling around. They're able to talk, they get relaxed, and you get more information out of them. It's definitely something Nancy and I were really on board with, like, yeah, we could see that happening and
Maybe
being
we have
so
to set
beneficial.
some money, so we have to do a little research and see some of the districts that are making it work, and maybe reach out and see logistically how they were able to do it with allergies, and, you know, how do you get the dogs, and who's responsible, and, you know, how often do they visit? I'm thinking it's more of dogs come and visit periodically, not that someone's responsible
regularly.
for housing,
Right.
you know, a dog, although I might volunteer, if that's the case. But I do think it's something worth looking into, because we can use it in so many different ways, especially considering the needs emotionally of our students.
And then additionally offering the additional English classes for the students, because we're learning that keeping them in that box and offering the same course over and over again, everyone's not interested in it. So let's give them something new, which is what we are doing, and giving them the opportunity to explore something they never would have considered going into or studying.
And I can tell you personally, as a junior, I have a junior who's going to be a senior and has had discussions with his English teacher, and is strongly considering one of these new options for an English class for next year. So I think it's great that we're expanding, not just saying these are for juniors and these are for seniors.
Right.
So that, you know, students have more variety to meet that 4-year English requirement.
Yeah, and not just the same typical cookie cutter stuff that is other districts do, but again, we're always ahead of the game. So we continue to do what we always do. And that's the end of my report for curriculum. Next, we have culture, climate, and community relations.
What about policy and legislative?
Oh, that would help too, policy and legislative.
Like, are
Thank
we
you.
skipping?
I'm sorry, Miss Brenda.
No problem. The Policy and Legislative Committee met on February 1st, 2024 to discuss the policy updates on religion in schools, videos or audio recordings in schools, non-resident students, and more. Proposed policies. The committee approved for the first reading a proposed update to Policy 2270, Religion in Schools, incorporating recent guidance from the United States Department of Education. Proposed updates to policies 3324 and 4324, including new language prohibiting audio or video recording of staff or students except under certain conditions. The committee added language requiring building administrators to publicize this prohibition to staff, students, and school communities. Updates to policy regulation 5111. Eligibility of resident and non-resident students to incorporate recent updates to relevant statutory and code provisions. The updated policy and legislation carry forward the exemptions for non-resident students in the current versions. In the area of legislative, Mr. Rubin briefed the committee on several legislative matters, including how the new sick leave statute is being applied in practice, and Senate Bill 1812 establishing new criteria for determining whether a special needs child qualifies for classification under the category specific learning disability. And that concludes my report.
Thank you, Ms. Smith. Next, we have Culture, Climate, and Community Relations, Ms. Salgado Cohen.
Yes, the Culture, Climate, and Community Relations Committee met on January the 16th, 2024, to discuss positive messaging, community partnerships, wellness, and more. Under positive messaging, the monthly themes, quotes, and marquee images for December and January were shared and discussed, including December's theme of generosity and giving, and marquee images for Muslim Heritage Month and Martin Luther King Day in January. The committee discussed the possibility of sharing weekly quotes via social media, school displays, or school communications, in addition to the marquees. Community partnerships, an update was shared about the recently formed partnership with Junior Achievement of New Jersey, the PHS Future Business Leaders of America, the FBLA students, are receiving training from Junior Achievement to engage in a High School Heroes Day, where they will visit the MLK and Arbor intermediate schools to teach students about financial literacy. The committee will consider reaching out to Malcolm Jenkins Foundation to inquire about community outreach efforts related to financial literacy. The district asked Jersey Cares about offering science presentations at Arbor. In the meantime, the volunteers, they volunteered to engage fifth grader classes at Arbor in Black History Month trivia activities in February. The committee discussed ways to keep the outdoor libraries in King School that were made by Jersey Cares volunteers back in October to keep their books stocked. A suggestion was also made to reach out to the Piscataway Boy Scouts about building outdoor libraries at other schools. Wellness services, the committee discussed results of the school start time survey and the letter Dr. Ranelli shared with the school community. Those who attended the Haven Night in November shared details about the event. The committee discussed its suggested revisions to the Family Night flyer that were used in the advertisement for the event. And in new business, the committee discussed the next steps for the district to work with Dr. Lindsay Stevenson, the lead researcher from District Equity Audit, in the coming months, and she will be conducting focus groups and semi-structured interviews with small groups of students, families, and staff. Just as an aside, when we were in the meeting, what most people were really getting engaged on and discussing was two things in the financial literacy piece. The Culture and Climate Community Relations Committee actually, brought something up to the group that Junior Achievement hadn't thought about, which is engaging both families and students in like a workshop about finances. So they thought they'd never done anything like that. So they're going to be taking it back to their administrative side and, taking our suggestion and seeing about that. So we'll have more on that in the future. Dr. Gray was able to partner with the libraries in town in order to be able to keep books stocked in the two libraries, small libraries that were made at Arbor, and I believe it was King was the other school?
Yes, King.
Yeah, so we worked on that, but the committee also felt that we might explore and expand upon that so that other elementary schools and intermediate schools might be able to have these small libraries as well. So in the future, we're going to follow up with the Boys and Girls Clubs of America to find out if they can produce these little libraries for other, schools. So there'll be a little more equity across all of the playing fields. So that's pretty much my report.
I think it's great that you're considering reaching out to the Malcolm Jenkins Foundation, who is promoting financial literacy at this time, and making that connection. Seeing as I was just here, and with that book signing, so
Right.
that'd be a great thing to do.
Thank you. Next, we have Fiscal Planning and Operations. Dr. Connors?
Well, the Fiscal Plans and Operations Committee met last night, and to discuss the 2024-2025 budget, project assessments, food services, and more. On the 2024 to 2025 budget, the committee reviewed the 24-25 preliminary budget draft information worksheet that our business administrative liaison puts together every year, and the committee discussed the proposed tax levy, state aid, and major expense categories. So we discussed our sources of revenue, and then we discussed our expenses. On the revenue, an important date coming up is it's a leap year, February 29th, but that's the date that the state will announce state aid figures. So keep your fingers crossed there that unlike last year where we got a decrease, that we either stay the same or get an increase. Facility capital projects, the district received notification of the award of $177,487 in emergent funds to be applied to the Piscataway High School woodshop dust collection system. Project assessments, Spiegel Architectural Group has provided a proposal to complete acoustical assessments for the PHS Anthony Gem and admin building multi-purpose room. The cost is $13,900. Spiegel has provided a proposal to assess Piscataway High School Media Center remodel options to include an esports gaming area that costs us $12,500. The PHS woodshop dust collection system bid specifications will be available February 13th. Door hardware project bid specifications are being finalized. As people recall, that we, in our long-range plan, a lot of it has to do with safety, and this is a project that we're trying to go after and do this door hardware project. Spiegel has provided a proposal to complete civil engineering work for paving of the Piscataway High School bus loop to complete summer 2024 paving. Bid specifications and the cost there is $60,500. On our energy savings improvement program, the ESIP, the ESIP, Siemens remains on track to complete the building management system upgrades in early April. On food service, the percentage of students eligible for free or reduced lunch is similar to prior year in the range of 35 to 38%. There was discussion here because we also try to bring in any new legislation that has passed that could affect our district in terms of categories. One of them is food service, and there's one out there now where the governor has passed it's going to be 224% above the federal poverty level as the income for being eligible for like a free and reduced lunch, and this is sponsored by the state, so that's going to help in that category. The second bullet point here is that I discussed the criteria for forming an ad hoc committee for meal charging policy. What this is about is that we passed a resolution in 2016 that no child should go hungry. Well, COVID hit, the people were getting meals, the students were getting meals, U.S. Department of Agriculture, so people got used to having, free meals. The narrative on that is that people in the community are often asking, why don't we have universal free meals? But the truth of the matter is that it's very expensive, and it's something that we really, truly can't afford to do unless we get, at the federal level, money coming down in universal free meal legislation. So it's a complicated issue, and so you'll see a walk-in resolution under new business that I'll introduce. We are forming an ad hoc committee, and we're calling it Food Services Meal Debt Committee. And what we have to look at is there are a couple of policies, 8,500 on food services, and then there's another one, I don't know the number, but it's unpaid meal charges. In that, there are criteria for when people aren't paying and what we do as a board. And remember, we don't want to shame anybody. This is all about just making sure that if people can pay into the current system, that we have a way to get and communicate to them. And so we're forming a committee so that the committee can look at the detailed information and make a proposal to the full board on what we do going forward, because we're now at about $250,000 in unpaid meal charges. And it's not fair to everyone, and so we want to make sure that we're doing the right thing. But again, we have a resolution, no one goes hungry. The community, don't be worried, people get fed. We just want to make sure that we're doing, the right thing here. Advocate is an organization that's begun working with this district on gathering information for food service management, because we're going to be, it's the 5th year of Sodexo, so we're going to be doing requests for proposals. And the district will be switching from a fixed price contract to a cost reimbursable contract. New Jersey School Business Legislation. This is here, I wanted to emphasize this, is that we now have, the governor has recently announced his intention to nominate a person named Kevin Demmer to serve as the next commissioner of the New Jersey Department of Education. And this is a big deal because this person has experience, he previously worked at the New Jersey Department of Education holding several leadership positions, but including the assistant commissioner and chief financial officer. So I put my hat on as the vice president for finance for the New Jersey School Board Association. We now have a way to start talking to someone at the highest level about what's going on with state aid, et cetera, and he has a financial background, which is good. And then it discussed several bills that were signed into law by Governor Murphy and under consideration by the Senate and Assembly Education Committee. Nothing really comes to mind, David. I mean, that was really earth-shattering, but we stay on top of those things, especially if they affect our transportation, food, anything like that. The business office update, the committee reviewed the current balance in the January 2024 NJ ARM, and that's not adjustable rate mortgage. That stands for New Jersey. There's a program called New Jersey Asset and Rebate Management Program. We've been very, very proactive, and you remember we voted on it and gave our business administrator, we wrote a policy to take, for example, $15 million and invest it in this asset and management program, and it goes by basically current rates of these, and we're doing pretty good. And I think so far since we invested it through, we've made about $465,000 on that $15 million. So we're always looking for ways that, like anybody has a budget, that to bring money into the school system any way we can. And that's a great initiative by our business administrator, business office. Then we reviewed information on that. The other thing that's still sitting out on the table is that from the past, we've had solar panels out there besides the ones that are in the Energy Savings Improvement Program. And how you make money there is that you actually keep track of, like, the solar panels have these GAT systems, and they convert kilowatt hours into what's known as SREs, or solar renewable energy credits. And then you sell them. So that so we're selling some of the final last ones because we're reaching the end of their 15-year qualification in June of 2024. And then we reviewed a report of expiration dates for other district-owned solar panels. So that's what the fiscal committee is up to. And anybody has any questions, just,
David, I'm sorry. Can I ask you one question, David? Can you explain to me the difference between the fixed price contract and the cost reimbursable?
I had the same question, Nancy. I had the
contract,
same exact question.
With the food service contract?
So a fixed price contract, which a majority of the country uses, so I'm told, is, in our case, Sodexo pays us, or is able to charge us a per meal price, $3. So what they're able to charge us is $3 for every meal they serve, and that's it. Cost reimbursable is they bill us the costs, and it's the actual costs that they spend. Now, how is that different, or why is one maybe better than the other? The fixed price contract, and the example I used in the committee is, let's say we were serving, just regular deli meat, and as a district we went and said we want to serve boar's head meat. Sodexo could say no because they bid on the contract for X price for every single meal based on that lower level of meat, deli meat, okay? So there's no mechanism for them to do what we wish and provide a higher quality meat. Cost reimbursable, they say, sure, no problem, because we're going to just pay the higher cost of the boar's head meat as opposed to the lower cost deli meat. So that's the difference between, and a simple example of the difference between the two.
So your fixed price would be fixed prices for each type of meal, or for each student?
Per meal served.
Per meal served?
Yeah, and they
'Cause
actually.
I know that we have like premium meals and we have regular meals.
So what happens is the premium meals are translated, they're equivalents, there's a conversion factor to make them just like a regular meal, so to speak, and then they charge us
A bit more.
the price for the regular meal.
Okay, I see. Okay.
Okay, so if I'm understanding right now, many of us here have high schoolers. That the high schooler decides to eat extra big boy meal. I'm making that up, but I don't know what it's called. Extra big boy meal my child decides to get. And so the district pays for the part of it that's not extra, pays for the $3 part of it, and then whatever's extra the parent's paying for, or how does that work?
So the meals, there's two types of meals in the cafeteria.
Right.
The ones that meet the government requirements.
Right.
And the reason that's important is that in order for us to submit it to the government for them to reimburse for their portion, et cetera, it has to meet those requirements,
Right.
both for health standards and even quality of food. That's why, you might think, oh yeah, fruit is great, right? Well, they say you can only have like half a cup of fruit for it to qualify for that meal. You can't put 2 cups of fruit because a kid loves strawberries and say, well, they're strawberries, they're healthy, right? No, it doesn't qualify.
Right.
Okay, so that's your standard meal. And a free and reduced child gets that meal, they don't pay, or they pay the reduced price. And then students who don't qualify for free or reduced can pay for that lunch. And those are the lunch prices that we set and we advertise
Okay.
currently.
or not pay,
$2.75, $3, and $3.25.
Right.
hence the
Then
issue.
we have the, really only at the high school level.
Right, only at the high
The
school.
à la carte meals, which
Right.
is chicken tenders and fries, which taste great,
Baked
but
potato
don't
bar.
meet the federal government requirements. We can't submit those to the federal government. They can't be reimbursed
Because they don't comply?
Right.
Correct, they do
Right.
not comply. And
Fit the-
So
the
anyone
state
who
will come
unders-
out from, they have what they call an administrative review schedule, and they come out and they monitor our cafeterias. On an annual basis, we're responsible for monitoring Sodexo and the cafeteria and making sure they're serving, the appropriate meals. That's one of the things Advocate does for us. And in addition, I go out to cafeterias from time to time, along with some of my staff, and just observe and make sure that they're following the regulations.
So anyone who could follow that and is interested in this, after we pass the resolution, talk with the board president if you want to be on that committee, because this is the types of things discussions we get into, because it gets complicated, and what ends up happening sometimes meals don't get paid for, and that's why we start to accrue these unpaid balances, so it's very complicated. But if you're interested, please.
I have one more question.
Well, I just want to go one more thing about the fixed price cost reimbursement.
Right,
So we used to be cost reimbursable, and
Right.
the last time we went out to bid 5 years ago, we went to fixed price. Couple of reasons. The state was really starting to clamp down. Cost reimbursable has a little bit more oversight involved, okay? And the state was really trying to clamp down, and I think they were pushing districts towards fixed price because so much of the rest of the country does it. To be honest with you, it's
Easier for them, sure.
Easier for
Easier.
them, and also easier for us. You know, the statements are just much simpler to read. So we did that. In that 5-year period, I've been convinced that the state has relaxed their monitoring. We still want to monitor and make sure things are done right. But
Right.
cost reimbursable, two things. One, it should give the food service management company more flexibility. So,
And we want certain meals.
yes, and let's say there's when we had cost reimbursable previous, I made a push for Sodexo to get a better quality white muscle meat, chicken meat. And they were able to do that because we were just paying the cost. We were under cost reimbursable at the time. That's another example of a flexibility that we have because I'm saying we're willing to pay that added cost to deliver a better product for the students. The other thing is, what Advocate tells me is that we will get more active. We have to go out for RFP this year. That's why we're talking about this contract.
right,
We will potentially get more bidders interested in Piscataway. You know, whether we want to change or not, I always believe it's good to look at all the options of people that are interested in working here, see who gives us the best price and service.
right.
The cost reimbursable should solicit more proposals for us to consider. Fixed price, there's a good chance that Sodexo would be the only one that would bid.
Mm.
And Sodexo's improved their service the last couple of years, but it's always good to kind of keep your eyes open.
Just one question. If we switch to the cost reimbursable, will the cost per meal for the student go up?
Not related, it's a separate issue. So there is a resolution to raise the price of the student, the price of the lunch for students that pay. This does not impact free or reduced priced students. They will continue to receive, you know, the reduced price or the free
So
meal.
David, when you say we'll just pay more, in essence, just reduces what we get from them at the end of the year as our contract
Whom?
from Sodexo.
Oh, and a cost reimbursable?
Yeah.
Well, as part of their RFP's for proposal, they will submit a guarantee.
Right.
That they will promise us we will return from the food service operation and the cost reimbursable contract.
But sir, I
As
think
the
to your
meal price
point,
goes-
the prices won't go up.
The meal price is set by the board,
Right, they won't go up.
and the recommendation that's on the agenda is to increase the lunch only, not breakfast. And that price the current prices we have been the same for 12 years.
12 years?
Yeah, we've had the same price for 12 years.
So how are we going to keep the price the same to the student, but at the same time, we're paying more?
No, the price won't be the same to the student.
Okay, so it will go up.
Sorry, the contract with, let's say, Sodexo or whoever wins is not related to the price to the students. The price to the student is
Whatever
purely
we set.
based on what we have now, and then there's a board resolution which is recommending increasing the lunch prices to the students. So that's separate from the contract with Sodexo or whomever a potential winner would be.
And that mostly affects a raise of the price of the current student lunch, which hasn't been raised in 12 years. That mainly affects all the students in, K through 8, because they don't have as much flexibility to get those extras that the high schoolers get, right?
I get what you're saying. It would impact high schoolers, but
Not as
if your
much.
point is the high schoolers also have the option to buy the paninis that we're serving.
Yeah, they
Yes,
have
and
ability
that
to drain their
price-
bank account is what
That
they
price
have.
increase isn't,
And have access.
that also a separate issue. So the
Yeah.
à la carte meal price is its own pricing mechanism.
Right, it
which
doesn't have
isn't-
anything to do with what we set the base price
Correct.
of So the base, what we're proposing is raising the base price of what a regular, standard, what the government says you should have on a plate meal is.
Correct.
Okay, I just wanna know what we're talking about.
Yeah, of
Thank
course,
you.
of course, yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Anything else?
Woo-wee.
All right, and that's all for committee reports. Next on the agenda, we have the approval of minutes. Ms. Rivers?
Be it resolved that the following minutes be approved as submitted.
Second?
You have to read the part
I'm
where you
sorry.
come down. You haven't done it before, so you'll read where it says reorganization meeting January 4th, 2024.
Mm-hmm.
Then that'll be voted on. Then you'll come down to the next one where it says business meeting January 11th, 2024, and executive session January 11th, 2024. Then that'll be voted on as well.
Okay, let's start again.
Okay, there you go.
Be it resolved that the following minutes be approved as submitted. Reorganization meeting January 4th, 2024.
Yes.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
And then the business meeting January 11th, 2024. And executive session January 11th, 2024.
Motion.
Motion. Have a second?
Second motion? Second motion?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, it's approved. Next, we have fiscal planning and operations. Dr. Connors?
Be resolved that the following motions identified as items A through F be approved as presented.
Second. Mr. Secretary, can you take the roll?
Mr. King? Yes. Ms. Rashid?
Yes.
Ms. Rivers?
Yes.
Mrs. Salgado Cowan?
Yes.
Ms. Smith?
Yes.
Ms. Stafford?
Yes.
Mrs. Cordino?
Yes.
Dr. Connors?
Yes.
Ms. Cherry?
Yes.
Motion's carried.
Policies, Ms. Smith?
Be it resolved that the following motion identified as item A be approved as presented.
Second?
Can you take the roll, Mr. Secretary?
Ms. Rashid?
Yes.
Ms. Rivers?
Yes.
Mrs. Salgado Cowan?
Yes.
Ms. Smith?
Yes.
Ms. Stafford?
Yes.
Mrs. Cordino?
Yes.
Mr. King?
Yes.
Dr. Connors?
Yes.
Ms. Cherry?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Third one, Mr. King?
Be it resolved that the following motions identified as items A through F be approved as presented.
Second?
Take the roll, Mr. Secretary?
Ms. Rivers? Mrs. Salgado Cowan?
Yes.
Ms. Smith?
Yes.
Ms. Stafford?
Yes.
Mrs. Cordino?
Yes.
Mr. King?
Yes.
Ms. Rashid?
Yes.
Dr. Connors?
Yes.
Ms. Cherry?
Yes.
Motion's carried.
Pupil Services, Ms. Cordino? There we go. There it is.
Okay. Be it resolved that the following motions identified as item A be approved as presented.
Can you take the roll, Mr. Secretary?
Mrs. Salgado Cowan?
Yes.
Ms. Smith?
Yes.
Ms. Stafford?
Yes.
Mrs. Cordino?
Yes.
Mr. King?
Yes.
Ms. Rashid?
Yes.
Ms. Rivers?
Yes.
Dr. Connors?
Yes.
Ms. Cherry?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Administrative and auxiliary, Ms. Stratford?
Be it resolved that the following motions identified as items A through D be approved as presented.
Second?
Mr. Secretary, can you take the roll?
Ms. Smith?
Yes.
Ms. Stafford?
Yes.
Mrs. Cordino?
Yes.
Mr. King?
Yes.
Ms. Rashid?
Yes.
Ms. Rivers?
Yes.
Mrs. Salgado Cowan?
Yes.
Dr. Connors?
Yes.
Ms. Cherry?
Yes.
Motion's carried.
The second part, Anika.
On the top of page 15.
50 Cyrus Street. E. Whereas the Piscataway Township Board,
Now, all you're gonna do is
Oh.
read, be it resolved.
sorry. Be it resolved that the following motion identified as E be approved as presented.
Second.
Mrs. Secretary, can you take the roll?
Ms. Smith?
Yes.
Ms. Stafford?
Yes.
No,
And
you're
it's
saying
no.
no.
Yes to everyone but yourself.
Yes
To everyone but myself, Anita Stafford.
Ms. Cordino?
Yes to everyone, abstain, Nancy Cordino.
Mr. King?
Yes.
Mr. Sheed?
Yes, abstaining from Sarah Rashid.
Ms. Rivers?
Yes, abstain from Loretta Rivers.
Mrs. Salgado Cowan?
Yes, abstaining from Nancy Salgado Cowan.
Dr. Connors?
Yes.
Ms. Cherry?
Yes, abstaining from Ms. Cherry.
Thank you.
Old business. Dr. Connors.
I've got a couple of things. First, I wanted to, I know Anika was at the new board member orientation sponsored by the New Jersey School Board Association, and I just wanted to read something because, hopefully people are watching this in our board meeting, that it often appears that we vote on things and not have a lot of discussion, but what we teach out in the new board member is that oftentimes it appears that members of our audience and board, we take action with very little comment. In many cases, it's a unanimous vote. Before a matter is placed on the agenda at a public meeting, the administration has thoroughly reviewed the matter with the superintendent of schools. The superintendent is satisfied with the matters ready to present to the board. It's then referred to the board committees. Members of the board committees work with administration, the superintendent, to ensure that the members fully understand the matter, and when the committee is satisfied with the matter, in other words, it gets put on the agenda. So there's been a lot that goes on before we sit here and just say boom, boom, boom. And I just wanted to let people know that in the public. The second thing is that, as you can see, my theme is training, and the next thing is that the New Jersey School Boards offers is a board certification. The more I'm involved in this, the more I am thoroughly convinced, from the past 20 years, that effective governance there's data that result in increased student achievement. And so when we have effective governance, we serve the students much better. And therefore, our next session in board certification with the New Jersey School Boards is going to be student achievement. They did a task force. Our field representative will come here. After that session, I put a link in that invite. So remember, it's Monday, February 12th. Please take a look at that because, that after that session, we'll be halfway to another board certification. And it's always just really great to learn. And the other comment I wanted to make was about, now we're in old business. We're in new business yet, right? That's old business.
We're in old business.
I'll stop doing business. That's it.
Okay. Anyone else with old business? Sarah?
Old business, not, just more of from the superintendent report. I know you mentioned AP courses, and I know ninth graders are now choosing electives for next year. What is a good way, or how is a good way for them to pick academies? Because I think now is the time for
Eighth graders, you mean?
So you can't pick an academy if you're already in
You
that?
can. The best way to do it is through your counselor.
Okay.
Yep, so you can go in as a 10th grader, the latest, but the best way to do that is through your high school guidance counselor.
Anyone else with old business? New business? I know there's some time you're going to start off.
The board secretary is going to pass out the resolution. According to our policy 0155 on board committees, paragraph 3, is that in order to form an ad hoc committee, you need a resolution from the board of education, from the board members. And then once we do it, it's very similar to our board committees, fiscal, legislative policies. The board president appoints people. So, I'd like to make a motion to approve the formation of a ad hoc committee for the purpose of looking at our food service, meal debt issue and making some recommendations.
I'll second.
Can I have Mr. Secretary? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, that's approved.
Good.
And I'm happy to join that. I don't know when you're taking the names, but,
Yeah.
I can get the names between tonight and Monday. This is covered, not a
Yeah.
problem.
Couple other things, some advertisements, is that New Jersey School Boards also, has a delegate assembly, and they have a big policy manual, and the policies get changed by putting in resolutions. If we, as a board, want to put in a resolution to the delegate assembly to add to their policy book, which they use to advocate our legislatures. We have to have it done by May 18th. You know, a lot of times so if you feel strongly about a resolution, something, come to me later and I can tell you what that process is. But we normally haven't done one. I don't think we've done it in a long time. An example. I'll give you an example. Like South Plainfield came to the delegate assembly, and that's what. Remember at the beginning, I'm the representative to the delegate assembly. Chantel's the alternate, and Plainfield had a resolution, and it passes through various stages. They have a lot of migration of students. So in the end, what ends up happening is that, their graduation rates are affected because kids leave and are still on the books, and they can't account for them. And so that's the type of thing like a Board of Education would write a resolution about to the New Jersey School Board, so it becomes part of the policy, so that eventually you could change something about it. That's an example of a resolution. The other thing is that Middlesex County School Boards, the next meeting is Wednesday, March 6th, and this is going to be the topic of that. The state officers get out to every county meeting now, and the programs for this one's going to be teacher shortages. Just to relate this to an example that happened tonight, when our president and the board, but a chairperson of the curriculum mentioned about the Italian class. This would be a good example of like, we can't find an Italian teacher. That's why we don't have one, is because there's a teacher shortage, and that would be the topic that's going on. But it's even better because the person that we got to give this talk is the Senate Education Chairperson, Senator Vin Gopal, and he's key in the legislature. So don't miss the opportunity to hear from him and how they're trying to address this issue of teacher shortages. The other thing is that Unsung Heroes, I'm going to be there anyway, so as one of the officers in New Jersey School Boards, so that's that. And that's it, other than everybody heard about, the state officer of New Jersey School Boards. We got to go to Washington, D.C. to be part of a national advocacy institute to go to, visit with our New Jersey legislatures and their staff. And it was just one of the most exciting things I've done as a school board member in my 15 years, to be able to go into, the representatives' buildings and the Senate buildings and sit and have talking points and have them listen to you about special education funding at the federal level, about student mental health, about school staff shortages, about universal school meals was one of the topics. And when everybody around the country is doing this with our legislatures, they hear it, and then they go into the session. And so it was one of the funnest things I've done. I got my picture in a school, whatever. and I'm telling you, with these staff, I was using a lot of examples of Piscataway. We're very proactive on the mental health issue. The governor right now they're modeling a program after Piscataway. And the program is, when we did with the Haven, now they're trying to get 15 districts around the state to work with universities to get the graduate students in psychology to work with school districts in a win-win situation. We did it 10 years ago. And so I'm just trying to be proud of yourselves, be proud of the district we come from, and we're telling everybody about it. Yeah.
I do think with the teacher shortage and having the curriculum meeting and talking and having that future teachers, talking about this club and the excitement, right, the students who are in it, and really, again, down the pike, having them come back and, possibly work back in this district. So, I mean, that is such a win-win educationally for needing teachers in the profession. So if you can inspire kids now and then want to come back and teach here, that's a good way to start solving some of your staffing issues and your teaching issues. And, I did say to them too, there's a lot of money out there for when you are going back into teaching, especially if you're coming from the same area that you live in. And there's a lot of bills that are being worked on to reimburse some of that tuition. So We're, again, ahead of the curve and trying to solve our own problems.
That we are. In addition to that, on Monday night, while we're doing the research, we will be addressing our board goals. Dr. Manelli will be emailing everyone a copy of the old goals, which are up on the wall. What you can do is take a look at it and see if there's anything new we need to add to it as far as verbiage or things that we're doing or not doing. But please bring your thoughts with you. Let's look at this and say, okay, where are we going next? What do we want in writing? What do we want to look at and say, okay, we're working on this and this is what we're going to achieve. So we'll be working on that Monday night in addition to the 2 courses that Patty will be getting us recertified in.
You'll get those goals emailed tomorrow morning. It'll be in Word format, so you could type right on there or print it out and write on it, whatever you want to do.
Anyone else with any new business? I say we just sit here and stare at each other.
I'd like to make a motion to close the meeting.
Okay.
Second.
All in favor? Meeting
I
adjourned.
could stay to midnight.
We know, Tom, we know that, that is not a surprise.
I could stay to midnight.
That is not new information for us.
What, it's done? Good.
Yeah.
You were productive today. Did a lot of stuff.
Nice job, everyone.
That's just the